They built palaces without walls. For 1,000 years, no army threatened them. Then the sky turned black, the sea rose to swallow their cities, and Europe's first great civilization vanished in a single generation. The Minoans didn't fall to conquest. Something far worse found them. The year was 1900, and British archaeologist Arthur Evans had just purchased a hillside on the island of Crete. What he found beneath the olive groves would rewrite European history. Buried under centuries of earth lay a palace complex larger than Buckingham Palace, with over 1,000 interconnected rooms. Evans had discovered the Minoans, a civilization that predated classical Greece by over 1,000 years. But here's what puzzled him most. This massive palace had no fortifications. No defensive walls. No military barracks. For a civilization that dominated Mediterranean trade for centuries, the Minoans seemed remarkably unafraid of invasion. The question that would haunt archaeologists for the next century wasn't how the Minoans lived. It was why they stopped living at all. And the answer involves a catastrophe so massive that it left scars still visible from space today. To understand what the Minoans lost, you first need to understand what they built. By 1700 BC, Minoan Crete was the most advanced society on Earth. They had running water piped through clay channels. Flush toilets that wouldn't be reinvented for 3,000 years. Paved roads connecting cities across the island. Their palaces featured light wells and ventilation systems that kept rooms cool in summer and warm in winter. But their real power came from the sea. Minoan ships carried olive oil, wine, and exquisite pottery to Egypt, Syria, and the distant shores of Spain. In return, they imported copper from Cyprus, tin from Britain, and gold from Nubia. They were the world's first true maritime superpower. Their navy was so dominant that they simply didn't need walls. No enemy could reach them. If you're beginning to understand why this matters, that like button helps more people discover this forgotten story. Now imagine you're a Minoan living in 1620 BC. Your world is defined by ceremony and abundance. In the palace courtyards, young athletes leap over charging bulls in sacred rituals that connect your people to the divine. Your priests wear robes dyed with Tyrian purple worth more than gold. Your queen's apartments are decorated with frescoes so vivid that the dolphins seem to swim through the walls. But here's where it gets strange. Despite decades of excavation, archaeologists have never found evidence of a Minoan king. Not a single tomb. Not a single inscription. Not a single statue. Instead, every piece of religious imagery shows women. Priestesses. Goddesses. Snake handlers in elaborate ceremonial dress. Some scholars believe Minoan society may have been matriarchal, ruled by queens rather than kings. But we can't prove it. Because their writing, called Linear A, has never been deciphered. We can read their numbers. We cannot read their words. 70 miles north of Crete, a volcanic island called Thera had been dormant for 20,000 years. The Minoans had built a thriving colony there, a trading outpost with paved streets, indoor plumbing, and 3-story houses decorated with some of the most beautiful frescoes ever painted. They had no idea they were living on top of a time bomb. Think about that for a second. In approximately 1620 BC, Thera woke up. Modern geological analysis reveals what happened next was almost beyond comprehension. The eruption was 4 times more powerful than Krakatoa. It blasted nearly 40 cubic miles of rock into the atmosphere. The explosion was likely heard in Scandinavia. Ash fell on Egypt, Turkey, and the Black Sea coast. The caldera that remained flooded with seawater, creating the lagoon that tourists photograph today at Santorini. But that was just the beginning of the nightmare. But that's not even the worst part. When 40 cubic miles of volcanic material blasted into the sea and sky, it created something far more destructive than the eruption itself. Tsunamis. Modern computer modeling suggests waves reaching heights of up to 150 feet radiated outward from Thera at 500 miles per hour. The northern coast of Crete, where the Minoans had built their greatest cities, lay directly in the path. Imagine standing on the harbor at Knossos, watching the sea suddenly pull back from the shore, revealing the ocean floor for hundreds of yards. Then seeing a wall of water taller than a 15-story building racing toward you. You would have had maybe 10 minutes to run. But there was nowhere to run to. What would you have done? The archaeological evidence shows exactly what happened next. Harbor facilities destroyed. Ships shattered. And something else entirely that nobody expected. Here's what most historians won't tell you. The Minoans didn't actually die out after Thera erupted. Archaeological evidence shows that many palaces were rebuilt. Trade continued. Life went on. So what actually killed them? The answer lies in who arrived next. And then it got worse. In the decades following the disaster, a new people began appearing on Crete. They spoke an early form of Greek. They used a different writing system called Linear B. And unlike the peaceful Minoans, they understood war. The Mycenaean Greeks had been trading partners with the Minoans for centuries. They had learned shipbuilding from them, adopted their art styles, worshipped similar gods. But they had been watching. And when Thera weakened the Minoan fleet, destroyed their harbor infrastructure, and killed thousands of their best sailors, the Mycenaeans saw their opportunity. Drop your theory in the comments. Did you see this coming? And this is where the story takes its darkest turn. By 1450 BC, every major Minoan palace except Knossos had been burned to the ground. Not damaged. Not abandoned. Deliberately destroyed. Knossos itself became a Mycenaean administrative center, its halls now echoing with Greek rather than the lost Minoan tongue. The civilization that had built Europe's first cities, invented its first writing system, and maintained peace for a millennium was absorbed completely. Their language vanished. Their religion transformed. Their very identity was consumed by the conquerors. I want you to remember this part. The Minoans didn't disappear in a volcanic apocalypse. That would have been dramatic but quick. Instead, they were slowly erased over the course of a century. Their blood lives on in modern Cretans, but their culture, their beliefs, their words, all lost. We can see their art but never read their poetry. We can excavate their palaces but never know their kings' names. There's a theory you may have heard. That the Minoans were the inspiration for Plato's Atlantis. A wealthy island civilization destroyed by natural disaster, swallowed by the sea. The parallels are striking. But whether or not the Minoans inspired that legend, their real story is more haunting than any myth. They remind us that peace is not guaranteed by prosperity. That nature does not respect civilization. And that even the most advanced societies can be undone not by their weaknesses but by their strengths. The Minoans built no walls because they trusted the sea. And in the end, the sea betrayed them. When the waves receded and the ash settled, they were vulnerable for the first time in 1,000 years. And their neighbors were waiting. The next civilization to rise from their ashes would conquer everything from Egypt to India. But that's a story for another time. Some historians believe evidence exists of Minoan human sacrifice at a site called an Emispilia. For bodies found in a collapsed sanctuary, one apparently mid-sacrifice when an earthquake struck around 1700 BC. If true, even this peaceful civilization had its darkness. But the evidence remains controversial. What isn't controversial is how much we've lost. Only 2 examples of Minoan art depict men in positions of authority. Thousands show women. Their religion appears to have centered on a mother goddess, nature worship, and the sacred bull. Rituals we can see depicted but never truly understand. The bull leapers frozen mid-flight on palace walls remain mysterious. Was it sport? Religion? Coming-of-age ceremony? We will likely never know. Linear A has resisted every attempt at decipherment since Evans first discovered it. The Rosetta Stone unlocked Egyptian. The Behistun inscription unlocked Mesopotamian cuneiform. No such key exists for Minoan. In 2023, DNA analysis of Minoan skeletal remains confirmed something remarkable. Modern Cretans are direct descendants of the Bronze Age Minoans. The bloodline survived even as the culture was erased. Somewhere in the villages of Crete today, people carry genes from those who built Knossos 4,000 years ago. They speak Greek now. They worship in Orthodox churches. But their ancestors once leaped over sacred bulls in palace courtyards and prayed to snake goddesses in mountain sanctuaries. The Minoans are not entirely lost. They are simply forgotten. Hidden in plain sight within the people who still farm the same olive groves and sail the same wine-dark seas that Homer described. Every archaeological expedition on Crete has the potential to rewrite what we know. New tablets of Linear A are still being discovered. One breakthrough could unlock everything. The Minoans are waiting to speak again. We just haven't found the key. But perhaps the most haunting legacy of the Minoans is what they represent. For 1,000 years, an advanced civilization flourished without fortifications. They trusted trade over war, art over conquest, cooperation over domination. And for a millennium, it worked. Then one volcano changed everything. It didn't kill them directly. It made them vulnerable. And in a world where other civilizations were sharpening their swords, vulnerability meant death. The Minoans ask us a question we still cannot answer. Is lasting peace possible? Or does every civilization eventually face its Thera moment, that single disaster that exposes all its fragility? The Mycenaeans who conquered them would themselves collapse 2 centuries later. The Bronze Age would end in fire. New dark ages would descend. History keeps repeating this pattern. Civilizations rise, grow confident, grow vulnerable, and fall. The Minoans were simply the first Europeans to learn this truth. Now you understand